some people in the US who thought they would have a great solution implemented with their new robo vacuum cleaner suddenly started to hear some strange noises and voices out of them.
It's not exactly the Terminator sort of creature.
Now you maybe know where your socks are going. I don't know.
We still don't know where. Only ever one, though. Only ever one sock.
Someone put a chainsaw and some knives and some stuff on some Roombas and put them around in the apartment or whatever, and created an automation when he spoke to Alexa or whatever. Released all the Roombas and they started.
Did you see that the inventor of iRobot, he tweeted to Elon Musk saying, can I please get my designs back?
But he also kind of highlighted you could use them for everyday tasks at home, right? That's his vision for this thing.
Yep.
Including babysitting.
No.
Do you want anything Elon has touched to interact with your kids?
No.
Maybe with the unwanted elderlies or so?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this podcast. As it's October and I'm wearing the world's largest jumper, we figured we'd do something with regard to Halloween for a couple of podcasts. We've all seen enough nightmares in IT throughout our lives, but also there were some nice sort of scary stories with regard to this as well. So we're going to do this first episode around sort of spooky stories related to IT. So with our tongue stuffed firmly in our cheeks, let's see what we can do. Christian, who wants to go first? Don't all fight over it, please. I mean, come on.
If I get myself unmuted, I can start.
Nice, good one.
So you go first.
With one that is recently happening, or was recently happening, where some people in the US who thought they would have a great solution implemented with their new robo vacuum cleaner suddenly started to hear some strange noises and voices out of them, going after them, swearing, driving around the house, and just, being very scary to their owners.
It's not exactly the Terminator sort of creature, but
not yet.
No,
but imagine now you maybe know where your socks are going. I don't know.
We still don't know where. Only ever one, though. Only ever one sock.
Absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely.
So go on. So I know I have a robot vacuum. There's one sitting down here. Please tell me what make or model is this? Do we mention that, or do I need to be concerned?
Absolutely, we will mention that. Absolutely, yeah. It's from the company called Evovax, which seems to have a not so good track record on IT security in general. And so it happened that some investigative people, I would just call them, found a way to get connected to robo vacuum cleaners that are implemented in houses in the US, where they could see what the cameras are showing.
Ooh.
And B, also have the way back around. They could use their mics to call the people things, swearing at them. And I think that is not such a good experience when you're sitting there watching a movie and suddenly your small little friend that you might have given also a pet name is getting into.
Yes, yeah, does have a pet name. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Although the pet name might have been a little bit more obscene if it started swearing at me, I think.
Yeah, maybe. So no, that's was really an issue. Gladfully, the solution was pretty easy. Put it into your garage.
I was going to say,
into
take the battery out would probably be
exactly. Yeah. But it shows. It really shows the risk you're in when you're using such smart devices. In general, and also when you get some vendors which are not really interested in providing long good service, but just selling stuff in the first place. And I think we will see a lot of such things going on further and further. This being one of the first, but there will be other robots in the future Yeah, which will scare us in other ways, I would think.
Internet of Things, in every possible sense of the word, is a sort of
exactly.
There's a lot of we're seeing this a lot with a lot of vulnerabilities being found in relatively old software that's been around for ages. All of a sudden, there's a vulnerability in it that allows remote code execution, and everything needs to be patched. And you sit there thinking, like, we've had this code for 15 years, and now we're finding out that it's vulnerable. It seems insane.
Yeah. True.
Yeah, once everything's connected, it's vulnerable. I mean, I have a book recommendation actually in that regard. It's Mikko Hipponen from Finland, who has written a book that if it's smart, it's vulnerable. That's pretty much the gist of it. And yeah, it's true. And I really recommend that book. That everyone should have a read through that, because it kind of highlights these kind of things. While not having a swearing robot vacuum isn't one of the examples he has, but still, it kind of highlights the problems we're seeing with everything being connected and perhaps not secured properly. I mean, the EvoVax, I think there was a pretty simple kind of pin bypass. I mean, it was a client-side pin validation that you could bypass by basically using developer tools in Chrome and just telling it to bypass the pin code requirement.
Wow.
And that was it, right?
Can I just ask, you said EvoVax? When you say it like that, it sounds like evil vax, which actually is probably more akin to it running around the place swearing at you.
It's a subsidiary of eCorp. Could be
absolutely
evil.
Could be, yeah.
And interesting thing is that vulnerability has been shown at the CCC Congress, I think last year already. So the vendor should have known.
Yeah.
They have been informed about it. They could have prevented that, but they were just not interested in it.
Yeah.
So that's really, really bad situation.
I'm just glad we don't fit these things with weapons. That's good. I do think of my robot vacuum cleaner as they used to have something called Robot Wars in America and in the UK for a few years.
I love them.
And I'm still thinking of it as Hypnodisc. It's going to take my feet out at some point when it's coming past me. But there you go.
Yeah, there is a fairly well-distributed meme on the internet called "Release All the Roombas," which is basically someone put a chainsaw and some knives and some stuff on some Roombas and put them around in the apartment or whatever, and created an automation when he spoke to Alexa or whatever. Release all the Roombas, and they started attacking the living room. So it's not that far of a dystopian future, I guess.
Yes, dystopian future indeed. Okay.
Speaking of dystopian future, I think that's a perfect segue to another topic that Christian was also talking about before. Head over to you and your scary robot story.
Did anyone see the Tesla announcements?
No, I didn't. No, what the hell happened with the Tesla announcement?
That's a pretty good question. I still don't know. I mean, if you've ever seen the movie iRobot, basically Tesla copied that and made an event called We Robot. And they had, for the first, they had full self-serving, self-driving taxis, or so they claim, which is a prototype. They have a this van thing that was basically a minibus, driverless, autonomous driving, whatever, which is, as an idea, interesting. But the scary thing was the kind of robot things that was walking around. They were bartending and whatever. And it creeped the bejeebus out of me. I mean, seriously, that thing was, talk about, as you mentioned, dystopian future. That looked weird.
I've not seen it.
Absolutely. And did you see that the inventor of iRobot, he tweeted to Elon Musk saying, can I please get my designs back? Because really, the Cyberbus, or whatever it's called, Evo, whatever bus, the taxi and the robot, they are all looking like the originals from the movie iRobot.
Oh, truth. Well, that's not a good idea. Do they turn red when they go evil? I mean, is that pretty much the way it works?
The problem is you can't see that yet because the robots are not autonomous as of now, because they are still humanly operated and they are making a big show out of, oh, look how cool and crazy and forward looking we are. But in the end, it's still some people.
It's a man in a suit. Or it's a puppeteer.
In this case, it was not a suit anymore. This was as the first time when they really suited up some people dancing as robots. This time they were somehow remote controlled, at least for a part of all the things.
I saw that in a Chinese show as well, though, where they had a Chinese show showing these robots, and then you realise that two of them are robots, but the other two who were doing the more impressive things were actually people in suits with badly placed paddles on them to make them look like they were robots and really strong makeup. And you sit there thinking, if you're doing a robot show, at least have robots. Not people pretending to be robots, but there you go. It just goes to prove we're not there yet. But there you go.
Yeah, you have to get the monies from somewhere,
I guess. But still, anybody can see through it. You would think. Obviously, maybe
people,
not everybody can see through it.
I just say people.
Yeah. There's the amount of comments on there where people are going, "Wow, this is amazing," and I'm sitting there thinking, "No, it's a person in a suit with a panel."
It's an amazing person.
Yes, very nice dancing. But yeah.
Yeah, I also saw Elon Musk kind of saying that, these are coming. They're going to use them in the Tesla factories and things like that.
Okay.
But he also kind of highlighted you could use them for everyday tasks at home, right? That's his vision for this thing.
Yep.
Including babysitting. Which...
No.
I mean, if your vacuum can swear at you from remotely, or remotely starting, do you want that? Well, do you want anything Elon has touched in any way, sense, shape, or form to interact with your kids?
No.
Well, maybe with the unwanted elderlies or so.
Okay, wow. Okay.
Sorry.
That's a bit harsh.
It's Halloween, guys.
Okay,
Come
fair
on.
enough. It's Halloween. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
We should stake them up. No, but I've got to say though, but you wouldn't trust that. What happens if it trod on your child, for crying out loud? It would be yes, not good. Not good.
No, really
so,
not good.
Well, he copied iRobot, and he called the robots, I think it was Optimus.
Yeah.
Oh,
so he's kind of taken Optimus Prime as well, which is
okay. I did see, and I do quite like Boston Dynamics. I don't know if you've seen much from them. They had a robot called Atlas, and they've got a dog called Spot that they use for various things.
Yeah,
and they were a fascinating combination of remote control and standard, literally doing it themselves. But they've done their new version of the Atlas robot. And I think it may well be called Atlas, but it's fully electric, whereas previously it was hydraulic or pneumatic.
Yeah.
And you look at that and you go like, yeah, that looks exactly like. Does anyone remember there was a movie called Red Planet starring Val Kilmer years ago with a robot in it called Amy? And the new robot looks just like Amy, which essentially was like a humanoid cat type robot that went mad and tried to kill everybody. Right. There's a theme here with robots, isn't there? Get the whole going mad and trying to kill everybody situation. But it's amazing how much the new Boston Dynamics robot looks like Amy. So don't trust that either.
Isn't that the one which was also a very scary presentation because it turned its head
completely 360.
180 degrees and was like, I don't know.
But it is fascinating what they managed to achieve with robots over the last 10 years on. I think Boston Dynamics are fantastic.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for someone to recreate something from Red Dwarf.
From what? From Red Dwarf.
Red Dwarf.
What you mean? It's not Rimmer, is it? Who's the other one? Who's the robot character? Played by Brian Llewellyn.
I don't remember. What was that?
This is what we get for being too old. We're not planning this stuff.
Yeah.
Red Dwarf, never. Maybe that's a German
probably.
name.
It's an English.
You've not seen Red Dwarf, Christian?
Science fiction thing.
The problem with any non-German movie or book title is that we have that strange thing where we have to put in another name for it. So it's not easy to recognize what is what.
Understood.
Sometimes.
Yeah. So Crichton, Robert Llewellyn plays the robot.
Yes.
Thank heavens for Google. But yeah, no. Essentially, I don't know what it would have been shown at is in Germany, but yeah, it's a very low, but it's a traditional English program. It's very low budget, but really quite funny. But essentially, it's sort of like set in the near future, whereby I think, to all intents and purposes, all of humanity is wiped out, and all you have is one person, a creature that essentially evolved from a cat, a robot, and a hologram. And they're quite amusing.
That's another recommendation, I guess, besides for books. Go watch the old Red Dwarf episodes. It's fun.
It's been going for years, my word. Giving them all a career. Okay. So do you have another one, Christian? Moan?
Well, I mean, we could tie it back to actual things we experienced, right? I mean, I haven't met any of Elon's humanoids yet, which I'm pretty happy with. But I did have an incident once a few years ago where it's quite a few years ago, to be honest. I was working in a data center trying to, I think it was upgrading some HP blade server chassis with some things. And at some point, I probably pulled the wrong cable, but didn't know. So a networking cable that I shouldn't have removed. So I was in there for a good 10, 15 minutes working on these things. And all of a sudden, this female employee from the customer came running into the data center.
Ooh.
And kind of
what have you done?
Almost. Well, what have you done, Christian?
It's always, what have you done, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I'm working on the thing that I'm supposed to be working on. What's going on? Well, we can't get people into the ground. And I was like, what? What's the correlation between what I'm doing in a data center and you not being able to put people in the ground? Turns out the administrative system for burials in the whole county where I live was offline.
Nice.
So they didn't know who was supposed to go in which grave. So what I've inadvertently done was basically take the burial system offline, and no one knew who was supposed to go where, which is kind of a problem. So we managed to fix that pretty quickly. But given Halloween is coming up, this is actually a kind of physical representation of what IT can and can't do.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, messed up burials.
Exactly.
I don't think I don't think I have that on my CV. Perhaps I should. But yeah.
But maybe if you want to be a death metal band singer or something, that would be a good story to share also.
I'm from Norway. I mean, come on.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
And the city of Bergen, where I'm from, is basically the capital of death metal from back when. So, yeah.
The capital of death metal. Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Pretty much.
Wow,
so, yeah.
Wow.
Nice.
Okay, but that's really scary. And in terms, if you think about the consequences, right? People in their very vulnerable situations, oftentimes, and then not being able to, put people to the grave and mourn. And so, wow.
Yeah. Hopefully there weren't any mix-ups. I don't know, but
oh wow.
Okay, I'll do a little one, and again. Hopefully there weren't any mix-ups. Okay, yeah, that's not the right thing to say, is it, Christian? Jeez, Okay, can I just say we're not getting complaints after this podcast. We're not taking complaints after this podcast. That's not acceptable.
No.
Please do not send us email. Right.
One more small thing, which is also going into the kind of dystopian future thingy. You know the Waymo driverless cabs in, I think, San Francisco.
I'm going to say, no, I think there's only, are they only in one city, or are they in one city in a couple of enclosed
maybe
areas?
In some, I don't know, but I think this one took place in San Francisco, where there is one woman who complained to the internet when that, hey, the cars outside are again honking in the middle of the night, like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 2:30, whatever. And she looked after that, and what she found out was that next to her apartment, Waymo purchased a parking lot, or rented or whatever, and all the driverless cars are coming home at a specific time or when there's no guests anymore. And when they arrive at the parking lot, they all try to find a parking space. And sometimes they have to go forward and go backward. And while they go backwards, the next autonomous car is coming in and honking to say, hey, come on, I'm here now. So it happened that those cars honked at each other for several minutes until everything was sorted out. And it was so crazy, she even spun up a YouTube channel for that. So I don't know if it's still up and running, but if you search for honking Waymo cars, you would definitely see some of the old streams, and it's so funny to see. Yeah, on the one hand, it's amazing to see how it works and that it works in the end. But on the other hand, if you imagine living there and the future of cars just honking blindly around because there are too much of them, maybe this is also just a reminiscence of humans driving cars, but still crazy.
Yeah,
I know what I would have done. I would have taken my robot vacuum out there and have it yell at them.
Exactly.
I should have sorted it out. Yeah.
I gotta say, if you attach a robot vacuum by a piece of string to a Waymo card, is it like a robot walking its pet? It could be an option. You could have a lead, couldn't you? They could be walking them around.
Very nice.
Right. Okay. I've got a little one. So at the end of the day, again, this is from the internet rather than from my own experience, because I never do things like this. Although to be fair, I did quite like this one from the point of view that I don't know about you guys, but obviously working in IT for a number of years, I quite like it when there's nobody else in the office. I quite like that. So I remember I always used to get loads done, and you'd just be able to sit down, stick a bit of music on, and just carry on working. And then you'd leave your IT room, and you'd walk out, and the whole of the office, the lights would be off, and it'd be really dark, and what have you, and occasionally sinister. But this guy writes that he was in a data center at midnight with a few people, usually observers, to troubleshoot issues. And he'd log into his Unix AIX systems via terminals inside racks. And there were people talking, and loud noises were coming from various IBM 43P servers, hundreds of them. And so he was focusing on running his commands into the terminal. And the guys who he was with left without telling him. They just left. So he didn't realize he was alone. But while he was punching in commands, he could see sort of shadows moving backwards and forwards behind the monitor. And eventually he just got annoyed and shouted at the person to stop being an idiot. And but then as soon as he did that, he immediately got goosebumps and realized that he was the only one inside the data center. So finished off what he was doing, closed all the laptops, closed all the screens down, and left the data center. The next day, he had an absolute go at one of his guys and just sort of said, "How the hell could you leave me alone in the server room on my own? Apart from anything else, it's a bad idea from a Halon perspective." And he said, and he apologized and told me that there was a girl in a red dress standing in the corridor outside the data center, just staring at him. So he left. I just thought, ooh, that's a nice story. Anyone seen ghosts while working in IT?
No, not even when I didn't get people buried. So, no.
They could have come and complained.
Yeah, could have.
Nope.
No, I don't think so. I've seen a lot of weird stuff in data centers, but not kind of paranormal things.
Mm-hmm. Me neither.
No.
That's a good one.
I gotta say. Okay. Anyone got any more?
Not from the scary kind of sort.
Not from the scary kind of sort.
Not what normal people would consider scary. Some of them what IT people would consider scary.
I gotta say,
I'm gonna do business people, but let's do that later.
I'm gonna say I'll do one. Actually, this is more of an IT one, but let's use this one to finish it off because I think we've all done this sort of stuff. Where sort of this is an IT kind of scary thing whereby a guy writes on the internet and he sort of says that he once deployed Kaspersky to his whole business. Hundreds of servers worldwide, a multinational. And by doing so, they lost remote access to absolutely everything. And they had to then send someone on site to every single server worldwide to reboot them, including in the middle of nowhere in Africa. And I'm just thinking, I have so been there, but just not at that scale, whereby I've done something that requires a reboot for everything. But I thought, oh my word.
Wow.
I get shivers just thinking about it.
I've done a few where I've been remotely configuring routers and stuff and just sawed off the leg that I was on.
Yeah.
But not at that scale. No.
Exactly. But I just thought, from an IT perspective, oh God, yeah, that just gives you nightmares.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of, the moment you do that and you realize what's happened,
it's too late.
That feeling, that kind of sinking stomach feeling you get, that's scary in itself because it's you don't know how to deal with it, right? It's basically on a physical level. You kind of, now what?
It's almost like all the blood drains from your face. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I can almost feel it right now. It's. I've been there a few times where I've clicked on something and then, no,
that was stupid.
No.
Why the hell did you do
this
that?
This is going to be a long night. It's
okay.
I don't envy anyone that feeling, no, at all.
Okay, on that note,
it's part of learning IT. So
yeah, it is.
Yeah. Okay. On that note, let's call it there for this one, and I'll invite everybody back next week as well to where we will do another set of these, more related rather than to spooky stories, but more related to actual sort of IT fails, I suppose. That might be a better description. So thank you, Christian, and thank you, Christian. Much appreciated, and I'll see you all next week.